My name is George Whitaker. I'm 86 years old. I don't know how many mornings I have left. I just know it's not as many as it used to be. When you get to this age, you stop saying there's still time. You start feeling time in the quiet of your house, in the way your body moves a little slower, in how a single day passes faster than you expect. And when you notice that, you start looking at everything differently. I spent my entire life doing things the right way. I showed up to work on time. I paid my taxes. I saved every spare dollar. I prepared carefully for a bright future I was absolutely certain was waiting for me at the end of the road. I was disciplined. I was the kind of man who knew how to deny himself small pleasures in exchange for long-term security. I lived as if my real life hadn't started yet. I spent 50 years getting ready, and the life I was waiting for never showed up. I kept telling myself that the present was just a waiting room, a necessary phase, sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes hard, but temporary. I believed the real show would begin later. I did everything society told me to do, everything my parents expected of me, and in the end, I realized I was still wrong. A kind of wrong you can't fix. Jim was my closest friend. We worked in the same field. We shared the same hard, rigid mindset about career and responsibility. Jim worked 60 hours a week, year after year. He never took more than 3 days off at a time because he was afraid things would fall behind. He used to say to me over rushed cups of coffee, "George, when I retire, I'm buying the biggest RV I can find. I'm taking Alice all over Italy. We'll drink wine under the Tuscan sun. I'll wake up every morning and go fishing at the lake I bought land near when I was 40. Jim had a perfect plan. Every detail laid out in spreadsheets. Every dollar carefully assigned to retirement funds. The day Jim retired, we threw him a big party at the company. Speeches, handshakes, shiny wooden plaques. Jim was smiling like a man who had finally made it. He was holding a map of Italy, the edges worn from how many times he'd unfolded it during lunch breaks. He was ready. He had completed the preparation phase perfectly. 3 months after retiring, Jim died. A heart attack at the breakfast table. Right as he was checking the schedule for his first trip, he died looking at a cruise brochure. He never touched a brand new fishing rod that still smelled like plastic. He never set foot in Italy. Never felt that golden sunlight he'd dreamed about for 40 years. At the funeral, his wife, Alice, said something I'll carry with me to my grave. She said, "Retirement wasn't the beginning, it was the end." A few weeks later, I went to help Alice clean out the garage so she could sell the house. That's when the truth hit me harder than anything else ever had. In the darkest, dustiest corner of the garage, there were shipping boxes still sealed with tape. Inside one of them was a professional fishing set, the most expensive kind, still untouched in its hard plastic case. Nearby were leather suitcases, beautiful ones, never scuffed, never tagged, never dragged across an airport conveyor belt. I opened a smaller box buried underneath. Inside were stacks of travel guidebooks. Florence, Venice. The pages were perfectly flat. No folded corners, no notes, no markings. An entire lifetime of preparation fit neatly into a few cardboard boxes. Jim worked for 40 years to prepare for less than 90 days of rest. and the only trip he took after leaving his desk was the one to the city cemetery. What are you postponing that your body won't postpone with you? I went home that afternoon and stood in front of the glass cabinet in my dining room. Inside were the bone china plates trimmed with gold and the crystal wine glasses my wife, Martha, bought 30 years ago. We always called them the special occasion set. Every time I suggested using them for a normal weekend dinner, Martha would stop me with a gentle but firm smile and say, "Let's save them for a truly special occasion, George." So we waited. We waited for a big celebration, a milestone anniversary, an important guest we couldn't quite picture. Those occasions rarely came, and when they did, we convinced ourselves, let's not use them yet. They're too special. There will be an even better moment later. Martha passed away 6 years ago after a long illness. Now, every afternoon, I open that cabinet. The crystal glasses still shine in the sunset. Not a scratch, not a fingerprint. The plates look exactly the way they did the day we bought them. They're beautiful, and they're unbearably cold. I realized I saved the best things for a day that never came. I ate off cheap plastic plates and drank from chipped mugs for half my life, just to protect objects that outlived the future they were meant for. I saved my life until there was no one left to share it with. In my desk drawer, right under the utility bills, there's an old blue folder. I labeled it decades ago in my neat handwriting. Someday trips. Inside are a list of cities Martha and I wanted to visit. Hotels with ocean views. Carefully written notes about small restaurants tucked away in side streets. Every year, I updated it. I checked flight prices. I clipped travel articles from magazines. I prepared as if we were leaving the next morning. And every time Martha asked, "When are we going?" I gave a reasonable answer. Let's wait 2 more years until we save a little more. Let's finish this project first. Let's wait until our health is a bit better. 2 years became 10. 10 became a lifetime. I planned my life as if time were guaranteed, as if it were insured by some central bank of existence. I wrote the script for a movie I never got the chance to film. Now my life revolves around hospital waiting rooms. I sit there and watch the elderly around me. We all look strangely alike, tired eyes staring into nothing, shaking hands, gripping purses and folders. There's a heavy silence in those rooms. Even the sound of a magazine page turning feels like a reminder of the end. I look at them and I see thousands of versions of myself. People who waited too long. People who spent their youth building castles they would never live in. You don't feel like you're wasting time when you're busy preparing. That's the trap. You feel responsible, moral, like you're sacrificing for something greater. You don't realize you wasted time until time is the only thing you're waiting on. I spent 50 years getting ready, and the life I was waiting for never showed up. The later I dreamed of has turned into too late. My legs ache after 10 minutes of walking. How could I climb the hills of the Italian countryside now? My eyes are clouded by cataracts. How could I truly see the art inside the Louvre? And Martha is gone. The someday folder is just paper now, soulless. Even if I went, whose hand would I be holding? I spent half a century preparing for a bright life, only to realize that the bright life was the one I had when I was younger, healthier, and Martha was still beside me. And I let it pass while I worked and saved. I prepared for life instead of living it. I'm not telling you this for sympathy, and I'm not here to give advice. At 86, I understand that advice is the cheapest thing an old man can offer. I'm sharing this because I don't want this truth to disappear with me. My regret isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It's quiet. It's the hollow feeling of realizing I won the game of accumulation and lost the game of being human. Don't confuse preparing for life with living it. Don't wait until the crystal glasses are only used at your own funeral. I spent 50 years getting ready, and the life I was waiting for never showed up. It's 4 p.m. now. The sunlight is fading on the windowsill. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. This time, I'll use the bone china set with the gold trim, even though it's just me, even though this isn't a special occasion. I'll drink slowly, feel the warmth of the porcelain in my shaking hands. It won't redeem anything. It won't bring joy back, but it's the only thing I can still do before the sand runs out. I'll sit here in this quiet and watch my life close its curtain. I wish I had known these truths earlier. Not everything should be saved for later. Preparation is not living. Time does not ask if you're ready. What if you finally get time and you don't get the years? I don't have an answer. I only know it happened to Jim. And in a different way, it happened to me too. I accept it now, not because I'm satisfied, but because I don't have the energy to deny it anymore. Acceptance at this age doesn't come with hope. It comes with silence. I sit in this house, these familiar rooms, these objects kept in perfect condition, and I realize I kept my life in a state of unused, and that sentence comes back one last time, clear as ever. I spent 50 years getting ready, and the life I was waiting for never showed up. I'm saying it out loud so it stops pressing against my mind. Not to change anything, just to let it be said, even if it's far too late. If this story touched you, leave a comment. Tell me what you might change after hearing it. Or simply subscribe and share this video with someone you wish you could warn. My time is running out, and maybe yours is too.